All right, head coach David Dean, press conference for week 8, heading into the, week 7, heading into the West Alabama game. Coach will start off with some comments and then open up for questions.
Well, obviously this is a big Gulf South Conference game. A lot on the line this week with them being the top team in the Gulf South Conference right now, undefeated in the Gulf South Conference, us with 1 loss. They're a very dangerous team, probably the hottest team, I think, probably in Division II football right now with what they have done. They've proven that they're a top caliber team, proven that they are a team that can play with pretty much anybody in the country. They played with a very good Sanford team who is a FCS school, played them and only lost by 1 touchdown. So we got our hands full, especially going over there. It's always a very tough place to play. They have a hostile crowd. They're right up on top of you. Bands in the end zone right up on top of you as you warm up. So it's going to be a heck of an environment. We're excited about the opportunity again. This is the 5th game of our 5th-week stretch that we've had to with our backs against the wall. So we've gotten used to that, and hopefully we'll go out and play very well.
Coach, Travis Cousins only touched the ball 5 times last week. Was there a reason for his lack of play, and will we see much of the same in Livingston this weekend?
Well, he got injured. He hurt his foot in the game. He will not play this week. He's out this week. We're not real sure if we'll have him back the rest of the season. We're getting an MRI on his foot today, hopefully today, and find out the extent of that injury. But that was the reason he got hurt. I want to say it was pretty early in the 2nd quarter, and did not play the rest of the game after that.
Coach, this game against West Alabama this Saturday is going to be the battle of the 2 top offenses in the GSE. You guys leading in rushing, they leading in passing. Have you guys prepared yourself for the possibility of a shootout taking place this Saturday?
Well, hopefully our defense is going to hear that and take that to heart. But every game that we go into, we prepare ourselves for a shootout. And from an offensive standpoint, that's the way you have to go into the game, knowing that you have to score in every series. Because if your defense is playing well and you score every series, you're making that not a close football game. But if you do have to score every series, then you're sitting in a position that you need to be at the time of the football game. So, hopefully it's not going to be a shootout. I'm not sure that we can win in a shootout against those guys. Our defense has got to play very well, but our defense does have their hands full. This is probably the best offense that we've faced all year long.
Coach, West Alabama outscores opponents by an average of 25 points a game. How do you slow down a high-power offense like that?
Well, you got to put pressure on their quarterback. He's the one that makes everything run. So we're going to have to get back and cause some havoc in the backfield. We're going to have to be in a position where we make tackles. One of the things that they've done a great job of is when they make a catch or a run, they break tackles and get extra yards. We can't allow that to happen. We've got to be very good in our tackling. We got to hang on and not give them extra yards after a catch or after immediate contact in a run. But the other thing that has got to go along with that is offensively. We've got to, from an offensive standpoint, keep their offense off the field. We've got to sustain long drives. We've got to run the clock. We can't go 3 and out and put them right back out on the field again. So from a clock management standpoint, offensively, we've got to do a good job this week and keep that high-powered offense off the field.
Devontae Jackson had possibly the best game of his college career last week. How involved will he be in the game against West Alabama?
Well, obviously with Travis being out, he's going to shoulder a much bigger load. And the good thing about last week is he did that. He accepted that challenge and like you said, played probably his best game, maybe of his career, but definitely of this season. So hopefully he's up for the challenge again. He's going to be very involved in everything that we do. He's our top running back that we have now. We do have some good guys behind him, but they won't shoulder the even load like we did with Travis and Devontae, but they will spare him just a little bit. But he is going to accept a bigger load, and we're going to rely on him quite a bit, not only in our run game, but our pass game as well.
Coach, kind of like against Delta State a couple weeks ago, you're facing a very aggressive West Alabama defense, leads the conference in sacks. How critical is that going to be for your offensive line to hold off that pass rush?
Well, it's going to be the key to the game, obviously, one of the keys to the game. They do a great job with pressure as far as the movements that they have up front, twists. They don't blitz every single snap, but when they do, they do a good job with their blitzes. They mix it up. They time it up very well of when they do bring pressure. But the main thing that they do is the movements up front. They're very athletic in their defensive front. And they take your run game away by doing a lot of twists and movements, kind of get you confused and those type things, and it also frees up guys in the pass rush. So, we're going to have to do a very, very good job of deciphering those twists, getting on them in a hurry, not letting them spin off of us, and giving Willie some extra time to throw that ball down the field. There's not a whole lot of weaknesses in their defense. They're athletic up front, the linebackers, their secondary. All the way around the board, they carry a lot of great athletes. So we're going to have to do a good job of, on the opposite side of what they do, we're going to have to break tackles. We're going to have to get the ball in the hands of our guys and let them break tackles. We're going to have to find a way to open up holes, go inside and outside. We can't rely strictly because of what they do, trying to get everything outside. We're going to have to go at them a little bit. So hopefully our offensive line is up for the challenge. Watching the game last year, they dominated us up front. It was a complete domination, and hopefully our guys will watch that film. They'll learn from that, and take a little bit of pride into that game, knowing that they didn't give their best effort last year.
Coach, you mentioned earlier that West Alabama only lost one game to an FCS school, only by 8 points. Is this team better than they are, and if so, how have you relayed that to your players?
Well, they're a very good football team, obviously. They've dominated everybody they played. They haven't really had a close game other than the one that they lost. And in that game, they were down, I want to say they were down like 31-7 at the half and came back and actually had an opportunity to tie the game up against Samford. And threw an interception at the end of the game off of their, out of their end zone that Samford returned for a touchdown. And Samford is probably going to be an FCS playoff team. So that tells you how good they are. But I think more than anything else, you can just watch those guys, how well they are playing together right now. They're clicking on all cylinders on everything that they're doing, offense, defense, special team. And that comes with confidence. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They're playing with a lot of passion, a lot of energy. And we've got to match that. If we're going to be in this football game, we're going to have to match their intensity. We're going to have to match what they do every single snap and not take plays off, not take series off, because if they do, we could get in trouble in a hurry.
Coach, the Tigers have forced 16 turnovers so far this season. Have you stressed to your players the importance of being careful with the ball?
Well, we do that every week, but obviously we're going to mention that again, and we have mentioned that, talking about how opportunistic they are on defense, and they've set up a lot of things for their offense. And that's obviously going into this game, we're going to have to hang on to the ball. We cannot give them free possessions, and that goes back to that time of possession thing that I talked about earlier. If we put them on the field very quickly, we're going to be in trouble because they are so explosive on offense. So, yes, that is a big key for us, is to hang on to that football. We have stressed how opportunistic they are. We know they're going to try and strip the ball away from us. We know that they break very well from a secondary standpoint on balls in the air. So we're going to have to throw things on time. We're going to have to throw things with a lot of velocity. And we're also going to have to protect the football when we get it in our hands, because they will try to strip that thing.
You mentioned earlier how this game is critical for determining, the top echelon of the conference. Is that something that your players have taken note of this week, just the opportunity at hand?
Well, I'm sure they have. We don't stress that a whole bunch because we still have half a season to go. We got 4 games after this one. But, they're not dumb. They know that if we win this, that it's going to be a 3-way tie between us, West Alabama, and Delta State for the top spot. And we've all 3 beaten each other if we're fortunate enough to actually beat West Alabama on Saturday. So they know there's a lot on the line. They know what can come about with a victory. But again, what we emphasize to our guys is the process of getting ready for the game. What we do determines how we play on Saturday. We just can't flip the switch at 4 o'clock Central Time and say, all right, we're here, we're ready to play. we've got to earn the right to be very good on Saturday, and that's how you practice, and that's how you meet, and that's how you live. So hopefully, and I've seen that this week, our guys are taking it very serious about this. Obviously, when you watch them on film, it doesn't take you long for them to get your attention.
Coach, is Satterwhite a different kind of quarterback than we've seen this season?
He is. He's a guy that throws the ball on time. He makes great decisions. Whenever you get a quarterback that throws the ball on time, it's always difficult for you because the timing aspect of football is the most important thing that you can ever carry out onto the field, and that's what he does very well. And you think back to a guy like Danny Werfel. He didn't have the strongest arm in the world, but he threw the ball on time, and it created a lot of problems for defenses. But he's very good running the football, and he's very similar to, I think, probably the Albany State quarterback in the way that he can run. He's just not as big as the Albany State quarterback. He's a lot like the North Alabama quarterback, who's very good out of the pocket and running and making things happen. Again, he's not as big as that guy, but he plays very big. He's hard to bring down. He's very elusive. He makes great decisions, and he's one of the reasons why they are scoring so many points and doing so well this year.